Rick Santorum went on Fox News Sunday and had to defend his dumb comment about the Pope. This is adorable.
Francis will release an encyclical on the environment on June 18th, and you suggested recently that the Holy Father should stay out of the debate on climate change. Here you are.
The church has gotten it wrong a few times on science, and I think that we probably are better off leaving science to the scientists and focusing on what we do, what we're really good at, which is theology and morality.
2 points. If he's not a scientist, and in fact he does have a degree in chemistry, neither are you.
I agree.
And that's one point. And the second point is that somewhere between 80 and 90% of the scientists who have studied this say that human activity contributes to climate change. So I guess the question would be, if he shouldn't talk about it, should you?
Well, we have to make public policy with regard to the environmental policy.
But you're not a scientist. You said leave science to the scientists.
Well, but the point is that whether we like it or not, people in government have to make decisions with respect to our public policy that affect American workers. Look at the administration is now proposing this ozone regulation that will simply shut down any manufacturing expansion in this country. So, yes, there are things that are going to happen here that scientists are going to determine, whether we need ozone regulations or not.
And you don't think the Pope has a right? You don't think the Pope has a right to talk about this?
Pope can talk about whatever he wants to talk about. I'm just saying, what should the Pope use his moral authority for? And I would make the argument.
Well, he would say he's protecting the earth.
I would say that that's an important thing to do, but I think there are more pressing problems confronting the earth than climate change. And I would suggest that, particularly when it comes to me as someone who's trying to go out there and make sure that we have a revitalization of manufacturing and energy production, the things that create jobs and opportunities, that speculative science, which has proven over time not to have checked out all the predictions that were made 15 years ago, none of them have come true. So all of this certainty, this is what bothers me about this debate, the idea that the science is settled. Anytime you hear a scientist say the science is settled, that's political science, not real science, because no scientist in their right mind would say ever that science is settled.
What? Is the earth flat? Rick, I'm asking you, is the earth flat? Presumably you'd say no, I hope, although your Bible kind of takes the other side of that issue. But the answer to that is no, of course the earth isn't flat. How do we know that? Settled science. How about the sun? Does it rise in the east? I'm just asking, Rick, does the sun rise in the east? I think we know the answer to that question. Settled science. Do humans have wings? Do they, Rick? Okay, again, settled science. Evolution is settled science. Yes, climate change at this point is settled science. He's like, I can't stand speculative science, he says. That's what it is, speculative. I can't stand the certitude and the arrogance of the people in this debate. You're the one with the certitude, you're the one with the arrogance, and you're saying, I reject your data because it disagrees with my political philosophy. So notice what he does there. He flips it. He's doing projection. He's like, why are these guys so certain? They have no reason to be so certain. No, that's you. You're the one that's super-de-duper-de-duper-de certain that it's not happening when all the data says otherwise. And by the way, understand let's say the data changes, and it didn't say that. Scientists would be the first one to say, the data has changed, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't say that anymore. So it's nothing but humility on the side of the scientists. It's nothing but arrogance on your side where you say, no matter what, I don't care what you show me, I don't care what you prove, I'm going to reject it. And I'm going to reject it because my political philosophy and political ideology says the opposite. So, of course, some science is settled, whether or not you want to admit it. Now, also, I like when he says no predictions have come true of the climate scientists over the past decade or whatever he said. That's correct, Rick. You want to know why? Because all the things that came about were worse than the worst case scenario. I can't tell you how many articles I've read over the past 2 or 3 years which have said it is worse than the worst case scenario. It's getting worse and worse and worse. So if you believe that, you're just not following what's happening. You're not reading the news. And then to the fucking Pope Francis point. Dude, you're the one that said leave the science to the scientists. But what you really mean is leave the science to the scientists unless they disagree with me, in which case just reject the scientists completely. And he's Rick Santorum, so he had to make up other shit in there, too. The ozone regulation is going to shut down manufacturing in the country. Yeah, I'm sure, buddy. Notice he's sidestepping. He's like, we can't talk about climate change because manufacturing jobs. I care deeply about manufacturing jobs. Oh, really? Do you? Why is it that you were in favor of every single so-called free trade agreement thus far? Why is that? You do know that ships millions of jobs overseas, right? So you care about manufacturing, then why are you on the side of getting rid of all the manufacturing jobs by doing outsourcing deals? You don't have an answer for that. And by the way, we can focus on more than one thing at one time, okay? I don't want to talk about climate change because other things are happening. Well, let's focus on the other things and climate change. How about that, asshole? You don't just dismiss the shit that you want to dismiss because you feel like dismissing it. But there you go, Rick Santorum. Hey, here's some advice, buddy. When you're in a hole, stop digging.